Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and in front of us is an ABS lock. This is the Avocet ABS British Standard 3-star lock. Very, very cool lock indeed. And I'll probably leave that there. And the thing about this lock, if you know about the Avocet ABS, is that it is one that has a magnetic element. This one happens to have it in position 1, but I think it could be any position. You also look at the key and think to yourself, that looks very familiar, and that's because, yes, it's pin in pin like the multi-lock. Most of the time though, and I've had a look at a number of ABS, most of the time the inner pins set higher than the outer pins. That's good, it makes it a lot easier to pick. And you can see how it works really well in the lock. Now, I actually had a go at trying to gut this lock, just so that I could do a gutting on camera, but I couldn't do it. So you can see that I've punched out these pins and tried to put them back in. And you have to take these out, then you have to take this weird kind of like horseshoe circlip out, and then there's something going on up here. There's a little bar which stops the core from pulling out, and this is where I got stuck. I could not figure out a way. I don't know if it's a hex key I just don't have the right size for, or whether it's like a little spring clip that I need to punch out. I don't know. Anyway, I couldn't do it, so we won't have a gutting of this lock. Luckily though, I actually have a different model which is a Cutaway, and we can explore what's actually going on inside this together anyway. So that is a bonus. You'll notice on this lock there is an external and an internal. The external, of course, has higher security, so it's got better anti-snap, 1 position and 2 positions. The internal only has an anti-snap in 1 position, and the external portion, so facing your door, also has trap pins here and trap pins there. Really kind of cool lock. I really do like this, and of course another part of the anti-snap is that this hardened there's like a hardened rod that runs all the way through, and that's where these pins kind of get punched through into. So yeah, it's very good for your anti-snap, anti-bump, anti-drill. These locks are very cool indeed. Anyway, enough talking about it. You probably all know about this ABS. What I'm going to do is go to the Cutaway, explore the insides, show you how you would defeat the magnetic element using a little magnet, and then go to a picking video where we do a full 360 of the lock. So in the vise is a Cutaway model of the ABS. It doesn't have the trap pins in, obviously, because you cut away the metal. If I align the key, you can see that you can't see pin 5, but you can see 4, which has a magnetic element inside, 3, 2 and 1. And actually looking at the bitting, you see that pins 3, 2 and 1 all have an inner which sets lower than the outer, which is kind of cool. And the magnetic element is in position 4. If I insert the key, you'll see how it all aligns on the shear line. You can see the inner pins there, just like this. Now, what does the magnetic element do? Seemingly, the pin is already at the shear line here, so this driver is, or the key pin is, and the driver pin are set at the shear line already. If I pull this down here, you can see though something's going on. There's actually a pin already at the shear line just there. So what is that? Well, that is the magnetic element. If I just remove the lock from the vise for a second and show you, sorry, turning the thumb turner, not the vise, and you can see just down in here, hopefully, that there's a dimple at the top of the pin, and that's because the magnetic element needs to pull the inner pin up out of the shear line. So you've got a pin sat at, well, just you're blocking the shear line here, it needs to be pulled up probably about 1 millimeter to clear the shear line and let the lock open. Kind of a cool thing. So how would I get a magnet all the way to the back? Well, get a reasonably good quality stainless steel wiper blade for one, And you need a reasonably good quality stainless steel tool. I'm just using this because it works. And the idea is that you want low magnetic ones. And the first thing you do is see where the position of the gap is. So put this in and just pull back on the pins and you should be able to feel the gap. So put it right down here, and pin 5 I can feel, pin 4 there's nothing, there's a gap, 3 I can feel, 2 I can feel, 1 I can feel. So I know it's pin 4. So put this all the way to the back, this tool, angle it up and get all the pins, then pull it back until you feel pin 5 drop, pull it back a little bit more. If you hear pin 3 drop, you know you've gone too far, so you need to start again. Now, then you need to put on a magnet, and this is, I believe, a 4mm by 1mm magnet. Put that on, and then push it forwards using a non-magnetic tool of your choice. I'm just using this, and put it all the way back, and then hopefully it'll just drop onto that pin. There you go, you got it, and you can see it there just sat. And what that's doing at the moment is it's lifting the that little driver pin there. It's cleared now. Can you see? It's gone. It's not a driver pin, the little inner key pin up out of the shear line. So yeah, that pin's gone now from the inside. Pretty cool mechanism. Getting it out, well, it's an absolute pain, truthfully, to get them back out, but you can with a bit of patience and a couple of hooks. But I can, of course, just go in through the side on this one. Right, let's go and pick an ABS in the vise and all the trap pins and do a full 360. See you in a second. So we're in the vise, and this is an awkward one because the lock has to be at an angle of around 20 degrees counterclockwise, so you can see the trap pins underneath. But when I tension, it's going to be difficult for you to see the trap pins anyway, so just bear with me. I think it'll work out. The first thing to do is put your tension tool in. Now, because I don't have the luxury of having the magnet at a position where it'd be trapped between two other key pins, I have to just insert it at the front, and it is a bit of a pain. You can stick to the tools, blah blah blah. I don't expect your sympathy, it's more just an FYI. What's better the way of tensioning it? I might try and tension it from underneath, like hook my finger around so you can see what's happening. Bit awkward, but you know, this is the kind of thing I suffer for your entertainment. And we'll just go in and try and pick the lock, really, all the way through. Just checking anything on 4. Hard to get past 4. Seems to be very high set. I imagine me moving the pick past it will actually help to set it. That's 5. Go back through. 2, 3. There we go. Looks pretty good so far. Oh, and to a false set. Now that false set is quite steep, and that means we're almost certainly trapped on an inner pin somewhere. So I'm going to go along the other edge of the lock and just tap the tops of all the pins if I can. Then usually that works. It usually just means there's a an inner pin somewhere which has been caught up at the shear line. It could even be the magnetic one. I don't think it is though. Oh, in fact, I might move that magnet out of the way. It's being a bit of a pain. Let's assume that that inner pin is set. Let's go along 5, 4, 3, 2. Going the other way just in case I'm missing it. We got it. So what we're doing here is, you can see the trap pins are all aligned. What they will do is that they will pop inside the keyway because there's no key involved. There we go. Now there's a few ways to do this. I like using a flat Z wrench, sticking it in and wiggling it until I have get the lock to turn. And what happens is you might need to do this a few times because those trap pins are a bit like T-pins. They're not perfectly aligned. There you go, got it. They do not sort of pop out. There's an inner lip where the spring actually sits for those pins. and the edge of those pins can catch on it, and it is an absolute pain. If you have to reset picking the trap pins, wouldn't be surprised. This thing happens all the time. So you won't be able to see the ones on the other side, but you'll see what I'm doing when I get there next time. It's literally a case of just going in and trying to find the binders and setting those trap pins, really. So just going along, see where I get to. Might need to go in the other way. Hard to wiggle around some of those pins sometimes. Okay, I think no. Have I lost the no, I haven't lost those, I don't think. Okay, yeah, I'm on a pin, that's 5 I think set. Am I on 3 yet? Honestly, it can be quite hard to find the binding pin on these little trap pins, and they can be a pig to set. So, oh, I think I found it. Yeah, got it. It hasn't moved yet, so oh, we have. Right, now what's happened here is just like a normal lock, where you end up having the open end of the keyway with the driver pins at the bottom. The inner pins shoot up inside. The outer pins are too big, but again, you can sort of brute it round, there you go, just by putting in a tension tool, pushing those pins round. Now what's going to happen now is that currently we've got the key pins still this side, and now the trap pins are fired into the chamber from this angle. So again, put the flat bar in, and we're just going to wiggle it until we think we've set all of those trap pins properly. Again, it's just a case of like wiggling the tool back and forth. It's almost like raking them, really, just with a flat bar to try to get it to move the core around a bit more. You might have to wiggle it a few times. They can be a pain, like I say. They catch on the lips, if that makes any sense at all, where the little springs need to be for those trap pins. So it can be a bit of a pain. Bear with me. But we will get there. There we go, got it. Now, the next thing to fire in as we go round is we have the key pins up here now, and they're rotating round. The back of the lock is at this side, so those trap pins won't fire in. The inner pins from the bottom chamber won't fire in. And what you can see here is, yeah, we've got trap pins now. And those trap pins are firing into where those key pin positions are. So once again, we have to apply tension, light tension, try and find the binding pins. And again, it's going to be hard for me to do that and just get you to see, so apologies. But I was tempted to cam tension for you just so that I can give you the visibility, but I will try my very hardest to do something. I wonder if I can tension this way for you. I'll try. Anything to get just some visibility of what's going on. Okay, feels like 5 there. Good, 5. Trying to find the next binder. Got 3, and there we go. I think we've made it all the way around. Right, let's just check the key works. Did I show you the bitting? No, there's the bitting. And insert that into the lock. And it all works fine. And because we've actually got some material inside the lock, the trap pins don't fire into the empty pin chambers or lock chamber, key chamber itself. Okay, whew! I hope you enjoyed watching me do that. It's actually a particularly tricky pick, this.